Welcome aboard, everybody. It is Sunday night. That means it is time for Sunday Night Live, starring Scott Sandlin, Richard Dodgard, and tonight our special guest, the coolest guy we all know, Rob Banks. As usual, we get together every Sunday night to talk about hypnosis, learn some things, and to share some hypnotic stories. By the way, tonight's musical introduction of our guest, who's actually playing the guitar in the background, Mr. Rob Banks. Thank you. A round of applause in the chat room for Rob Banks. That would be nice. And Scott, I'm going to kick us off with an introduction. That was a great interlude, Rob Banks. And Scott, if you could do your usual thing and talk while I type and introduce Rob.
Sure. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday to you all. I've had a wonderful weekend, a little Christmas shopping for the nephew, Christmas shopping for the wife, altogether spending way too much money when people weren't looking, and having a lot of fun with family, my dad and people like that, and Christmas parties. I hope you guys are having fun too. Tonight's guest is Rob Banks. Richard Clark shared his story with me that Rob will share with you tonight. And by the way, part of my shopping was getting a new computer because mine broke and the webcam software isn't set up well, so sorry I'm so dark. But we'll deal with that as we roll through this. But Richard shared Rob's story with me maybe a couple months ago, and I thought it was just an incredible story of an incredibly accomplished and cool person. And so as Richard was telling me the story of their meeting and working loosely together, the beginnings of it sounds like, I said, this sounds like the kind of guy we got to have on Sunday. And Richard said, I'm one step ahead of you. We're already going to make it happen. So Rob, thanks for being here tonight. And we're really excited. Well, Richard and I are really excited to share what you've got going on with the people who we have joining us every Sunday. Rob, thanks for being here. What's your story? Give us the beginnings.
Oh, okay. So, I don't know where you want me to start.
Yeah, so
I think we should start. Let me give you a starting point, Rob. Okay. I met Rob at a hypnosis conference at the Seattle Hypnosis Conference, and he was the smartest man in the room. So I immediately, during the first break, wanted to talk to him, and it turned out he not only was the smartest guy in the room, but he was the coolest guy in the room. And so I'm going to give you the starting point, which really isn't the starting point, but it turns out he wrote a best-selling book called The Power of I Am and the Law of Attraction. What was fascinating, though, is he wrote that book when he was at the top of his game. He was a successful entrepreneur, a medical expert, the head of a important medical imagery unit, and
diagnostic imaging,
and then went blind. And that was just about a year ago. And he was the happiest guy in the room, the smartest guy in the room, and probably the best hypnotist in the room. And he'd only been doing hypnosis for a little more than a year. And so I think that's the starting point, Rob, for you to jump off. He's been a Thunderbird crew chief. Yes, those are airplanes that fly overhead. He's a Native American Indian. He's a fantastic public speaker. He's a veteran. He's a moon dream catcher, moon phase builder, as you can see in the background. And he sees with his heart, not with his eyes. And frankly, Scott, you and I can probably just shut up for the next hour because Rob's got far more valuable things than we could ever talk about. Well, there you are, Rob. There's your intro.
Well, thank you very much, Richard. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I thank you so much for allowing me to share what I know and what I've learned over the years with your folks there. And well, I have to say that my attraction, I guess, so to the law of attraction was it actually started when I was in third grade. So I was very lucky, very fortunate, and very unique to be what are you in third grade? 10 years old, to be a 10-year-old that's being exposed to this concept. And that happened. My father, he would get up and go to work, but there was a gentleman. Now you have to remember, this is back in probably 1963, 64, somewhere back in the early 60s. A very predominant radio announcer, speaker, author, in this realm. His name is Earl Nightingale. He's passed away now, but he was, if you remember Sky King, he was the voice of Sky King, and he did voiceovers also, because I also do voiceover work.
By the way, you are, just to throw this in so I don't forget, you are the voice in the soap opera edition from. He was also been a soap opera star of that song. James,
I wasn't a star, but thank you for calling me one.
There you go, James Dean. You know what's the name of that song? Rock on.
Yeah, I was in Michael Damian's band. I was a radio DJ down in L.A. for many, many years on Kiss FM. If anybody remembers Kiss, the bad boy Bobby B back in the the early '90s. I was
That's where Rick Dees was on Kiss FM, wasn't he?
Yeah. I was either on from like midnight till 2 or 3 in the morning, or else 3 till 6 when Rick came on. So I worked with Rick for a few years there at Kiss FM.
Awesome.
I had the opportunity, like I was saying, my father, Earl Nightingale, used to do a little 5-minute blurb, kind of like, remember Paul Harvey used to do little 5-minute radio things years ago. Well, this was
the rest of the story.
Yeah, so the rest of the story. So Earl Nightingale used to do somewhat similar to that, to where he had a little 5-minute syndicated little motivational blurb he would do every morning, and it was syndicated. It was all over the country, and they would do like 3 or 4 minutes where he would talk, and then they would do, or actually I think it was about 2 minutes, and then they would do a commercial break, and then he would come back with the, to cap off the, and kind of give you the gist of the whole of what he was talking about. So my job, after my father had gone to work, he hired me. My first job was as a recording engineer, to get a reel-to-reel recorder, and I would record Earl Nightingale's Our Changing World is the name of the program. 5 minutes on KFRC right there in the Bay Area. San Francisco, California is where I grew up, in the Bay Area there, Central California area. And so I would do this 50 cents a week before I'd go to school. And so every morning before I go to school, I would get a 5-minute injection of positive affirmations and a good pep talk, kind of before you go out onto the playing field. And I did this for years. And so I started realizing that, wow, this is kind of cool. This whole law of attraction thing is really kind of neat. It kind of works good. So I started thinking about that a lot while I was going through grammar school and stuff, and it's like, okay, if I want a new bicycle, I started learning how to adjust my train of thought and get on what I call a high vibrational plan, and boom, next thing I know it, I got a new bicycle, and then I got a new fishing pole. So, for a 12-year-old preteen or early teen kid, that's pretty cool. It's like, I can manifest this kind of stuff, and so I was very, very very pleased with that when I was younger. Then I kind of got into high school, and you kind of get into I got into cars and girls and all that kind of stuff, and kind of got away from that. Then I wound up joining the military, and that's where I was kind of reintroduced to that concept. Now I've always been the type to where I do good. Everything that I do everything I do out of passion. I don't do things for money, and I don't want to stray too far off my story here, but I always look at one of the biggest issues in our society today is that I think priorities have been skewed. They've been foggy. My point being is that money is a goal now. And the way that I was brought up, money should be a tool. It's not a goal. And if you're sitting there, you've got a fistful of money, that's not going to do you anything. But if it's like, okay, my goal is to have a whole bunch of money. Boom, there's my, it's like so many people, that's what they want. And there's it's like, I understand why that happens. But what I feel is where we've kind of like gone off our direction there is that money is a tool. It's just like anything else. It's like, I'm not saying that shouldn't be a priority, because I need money to eat, I need money to pay the electricity bill, I need money. We all need money, but it's a tool. And so I saw a thing not too long ago where it said which really I thought was great, because it says, here's what's wrong with the world. I'm trying to remember. It was a post, one of those posts on Facebook or something like that. It says that we're supposed to love our fellow man and use money, but it's now turned around to where we use people and love money, something like that. But you get the gist of what I'm talking about, and I really think that's the
that is the thing. Yes. You mentioned the law of attraction a couple times, and I know what the law of attraction is. I think most people have been exposed to it through that movie, The Secret. So they think the law of attraction is only The Secret. Can you give us sort of a summary of what the law of attraction is, and how does it apply to hypnosis and subconscious learning?
Now, the law of attraction is, in my opinion, the law of attraction is just like any other law of our universe, like gravity, for example, or things like that. This stuff that happens in our universe that we can't see, but it is a universal power out there, and it's a vibrational energy and a vibrational power, and that's what I feel. The law of attraction is, in my opinion, always at work, just like gravity is always at work. If I hold this up and I drop it, it's going to fall every single time because of gravity. Well, it's the same thing. Now, when it comes to The Secret, Rhonda was amazing. She's the lady that put that book and that movie together, and it very, very, very effective, very good. Really put the law of attraction kind of back into the mainstream. And I know like Napoleon Hill, and there was books back in those days that were going along the same lines. It's like, what you think about, where your thoughts go, energy flows, and that's pretty much what the law of attraction is. It's like, in the beginning of my book, I'll hold it up so you can see what it looks like.
You gotta hold it. Yeah, you're missing.
Did I hold it up right?
Yep, there you go.
Very good. So,
yeah, you guys don't usually see real good.
Yeah. Okay. So So in my book, I explain that the law of attraction is always working, just like gravity is always working. But it's what we think about is what we attract. And so when Rhonda came out with the law of attract, or with The Secret, it was really cool. And unfortunately, in my opinion, it was not. It didn't tell you the whole story.
Well, it was 90 minutes.
Right. It got there, and this was back in 2005, so it was 10 years ago. And what a lot of people did is they got the book, they got the movie and stuff like that, and then they realized, oh my gosh, you mean all I have to do is just wish what I want, and it's going to appear. So a lot of people are sitting there on the chair saying, I want $1 million, and they're waiting and for that big poof of smoke and a pile of money in their front room. Well, that's not quite how the law of attraction works. The law of attraction works, but people would get it. It's like, oh, I tried the law of attraction and it doesn't work. It's like it's the same thing as saying I tried gravity and it didn't work for me. And you can't turn it on, turn it off. You can't use it or not use it. If it's not working for you, which is what people say, then I say you're not manipulating it to your advantage. Which means that if you're saying, if you remember what that focus equals fuel is what it boils down to. Now in my book I say we aren't attracted to our life what we choose to think, say, and believe about ourselves and our perceived reality. That's the long version. Short version is focus equals fuel. Whatever you focus on, that's what you fuel into your life. So whatever you say, now the name of the book, The Power of I Am, because in my opinion, when you say I am, that is getting the universe's attention, or now when I say the universe, whatever your higher source is. There's lots of different names for people's higher source. Now me, I was brought up, Baptist Presbyterian, so my group calls higher source God, which I think a lot of people do, and there's lots of different names for God and Yahweh and stuff like that. But And you know, but it even says right there in the Bible, ask and ye shall receive, ask and ye shall receive, ask and ye shall receive. How many times does it say that in the Bible? Not that I'm going down a biblical road. I'm just using that as reference because that is the upbringing that I have. So if I take that and then if I, you know, it's like, and then also, so if I say I am always tired, if I am saying I'm always broke, oh, I'm so tired, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly, I'm so sick and tired of this, and it's like every time, and then people say, well, that's Murphy's Law. Well, that Murphy's Law is the law of attraction, because if that's what you're focusing on, then that's what you're going to bring into your life. You're saying it's like, I'm fat, ugly, stupid, and broke, then what is it that that God says? Ask and you shall receive. Oh, okay, you want to be fat, ugly, stupid, and broke? Then here you go. That's what you want. This is where your mindset is. But if you say, I am happy, healthy, wealthy, worthy, secure, courageous, all these things, this is what you're going to bring into your life. And now as far as money, and I'm going to use money because right now it's Christmas time and a lot of people are out shopping, and I think Roger said something about he spent more money than he should have. But
Roger, your brother, or Roger Moore? Because you're in Seattle.
Oh yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Or
yeah,
me, Scott.
My brother. Pardon?
Yeah, see, let me throw something in here.
I just said the exact same thing a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, you just said the same thing when we got going on, that you spent more money than you should have.
I definitely spent more money than I should have on my wife and my nephew earlier.
So here's what people do when with that mindset is you're saying I don't have enough money. Now you have to remember, lack is something that if you say I'm broke all the time, I don't have enough money to do this, this is what you're going to attract. So what happens is you don't have enough money, and then you start stressing over money. And this is probably one of the biggest things that I work with people, both in hypnosis, and I use the law of attraction, I use affirmations a lot with my clients with hypnosis, because it's a mindset. And that's what hypnosis is going in, tapping into your subconscious mind, doing your thought, your belief system about yourself. If you were brought up telling, you know, with the belief system that you are always broke, that money is the root of all evil, that it doesn't grow on trees, and all these things that our parents always told us every time we said I want $5 or whatever to go to the movies. What do you think I'm made of money? All these things, this is low vibrational negative energy that is around money. And so this is what we're kind of like brought up and we're taught. And this is kind of like how we are these days. Well, I mean, a lot with society is when you ask them, just what do you want? They'll tell you what they don't want. And
absolutely.
And it's like, I didn't ask you what you don't. I just said that to a lady the other day, a client of mine. And I asked her what she wanted, and she started going on. It's like, well, I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't. And I'm like, ma'am, ask you what you did want. So, but when it comes back to money, when people say, oh, God, I'm so broke, I'm so stressed out, Christmas time is coming, I don't have enough money, they don't give me enough hours, what are you affirming? Any and everything that comes out of your mouth and in your mind is an affirmation. Those affirmations are what set the barometer, what set the direction of your life. And once people realize that and it all does boil down to the law of attraction, and you realize that it is not something that you can quote unquote try or not try and say, well, I wanted $1 million, I said I wanted it, and it never did show up, so the law of attraction doesn't work for me, so I don't even think about it or use it anymore. So that's just like starting to walk and going nowhere, getting in your car and driving and going nowhere. You kind of have a direction. What do you want in life? And so with money, what I do with money, and this is some advice that probably the biggest advice that I give people when it comes to money, is they say, okay, well, I am broke. How do I manifest money? It's like, well, the first thing you need to do is start affirming what you want, what you desire, and then take it from there. So I always tell people, you know, because people we talk about needs, and now if you take high vibrational energy, low vibrational energy, love would be high vibrational, hate would be low vibrational, broke would be low vibrational, abundance would be high vibrational. So if you want to stay on this high vibrational plane, bring in this high vibrational energy, bring in prosperity and abundance, this is what you need to start manifesting through affirmations. All starts with what's going on between your two ears. So if you're saying, I'm always broke, I don't make enough money, I need to get a second job, even a second job isn't going to be... But what you're saying is you are declaring to the universe that you do not have enough money, that it is lack. Lack is the opposite of abundance. Therefore, lack is low vibrational energy. So when you need something, you lack something. That's why you need it. And so it's like, oh my God, I really need this because I don't have it. That is putting out low vibrational energy, in my opinion, because you're saying, I don't have it. I lack something. So when I do my affirmations, when people ask me, it was like, well, how do you do an affirmation? So my affirmation for money, and you can, this is being recorded so people can go back and listen to it. My affirmation for that is, I am always blessed with more than enough money for everything that I desire. I don't say anything about lack. I don't say anything about I need this. I don't need anything. But I have more than enough money for everything that I desire. And so if I want to whatever, I always have enough money for it. I always have enough money for everything that I desire. I will sit there and tell myself that for 3 hours straight. And boom, you know what? I'll sell a whole bunch of books, or I'll sell something, or it's like I'll get it's like the money always comes through. Now,
or you'll get a whopping royalty check from those books. Let me ask you a question though, Rob.
Yes.
Let me ask you some tough questions. By the way, what we do is every Sunday night we get together to talk about hypnosis-related subjects, and affirmations certainly fall into that category. Your story, though, is remarkable. So you've been living the law of attraction your whole life. You've been practicing these principles. You've been successful in business, successful in multiple careers. You achieved the pinnacle of financial success. Let me ask you the tough question, though.
Okay.
You get a brain tumor. No one will operate.
Yeah.
You almost die, and you go blind. And now they're delaying your dog by a couple of months. How does the law of attraction fit into this?
Now, the way that that's a very good question. Thank you for asking that, because I've had a lot of people ask me that. It's like, well, if you can manipulate everything in your life, then you're the one that brought on the brain tumor. You're the one that brought on all these situations and stuff like that. Now, my answer to that is my higher source, my creator, what a great spirit. It's like my mother's side of the family is Native American, and so it's Wakantanka is what the Lakota call the Great Spirit, or whatever. My opinion, the way that I've had to deal with that, and it's like I don't come up with this stuff. I have a lot of mentors. Wayne Dyer actually was one of my mentors who has just passed away, and but we still talk a lot, and he still helps me, so that's kind of cool. But so I go ask, do the grasshopper thing, and I ask, what do you do about that? And I get told. So what I have come up with, the way that I see it in my mind, is my creator is one that, you say can be in charge of everything. Some people believe that, some people don't. That's fine. Now, when it comes to the law of attraction, though, I can manipulate myself and what I want to attract into my life with me. Now, if you, for example, if I want you to do something, I cannot manipulate you and say, well, I want Richard to give me $10,000 tomorrow, and start doing affirmations to get you to do this or do that. I can't do that. A lot of people want to know how to use law of attraction to attract a mate. You can't do that, because you cannot manipulate somebody else's life or anything like that. So what happens is I am in control of my life. I am in control of what I can do and what I choose to do. So if the world, the universe, my life, something happens in my life, I don't necessarily manifest those situations, but when it comes to the law of attraction, certain things happen in my life, but my creator, God, whatever you want to distinguish, gives me what's called free will or choice. So I can choose to be upset, I can choose to be happy, I can choose to to be whatever I want with whatever situation is. And again, there's so much to it. And I know Rhonda couldn't do it in 90 minutes, and I certainly can't do it in 60 minutes. And it's just a matter of taking and learning, getting knowledge about how the universe works, or knowledge about the law of attraction and what you are programmed in, and then you can change that. You change that through hypnosis, but you can change that. So if a situation comes up to where I have a brain tumor, that came up because of my choices. Now, I don't know for sure, but I was a diagnostic imaging specialist for about 15 years. Now, in diagnostic imaging, there's a lot of radiation involved. And so, you know, it's like I'm doing CAT scans, doing X-rays, doing all these things with radiation, fluoroscopy mainly, with a just, you know, fluoroscopy is like a video camera, an X-ray video cam, where it is just dumping out so much radiation. And so we wear thyroid collars to keep our thyroid, and aprons and big lead gloves and stuff like that. But your brain, you know, I wasn't wearing a lead hat. And so I actually wound up with 2 brain tumors. The first one I had was back in '07, and it was like it was on the surface on what they call the meningioma layer. And so, you know, I was working at a hospital. They just kind of opened up my skull there, popped it out. It was right there on the surface, and so they scooped it out. I was back to work in like 2 weeks. Now fast forward to 2012, wasn't feeling very good. Wound up going to the doctor. Well, I wound up, ambulance had to take me to the hospital. I had vertigo so bad I could not even stand up. And so I wound up going to the hospital, did another scan, and it's like, okay, now I have another brain tumor. Only this one is like right smack dab in the center of my brain, between my pituitary and my pineal gland. Now, that is the hardest, the most difficult place to get to, and so this is where this tumor wound up. Now, had I gone another route career-wise at that particular time in my life, more than likely would not get a brain tumor, because if you're, you know, if I was working at Target or wherever, my chances of being around that much radiation that's going to cause me to have not 1 but 2 brain tumors is very, very minuscule. So what caused the brain tumor? Is that something that I attracted? You know, it's like if you jump in front of a car or a bus, it's not going to bounce off you if you think it's not going to bounce, if it's not going to hurt you. Pretty sure you're going to get smacked pretty hard. So you can't use the law of attraction and say, I'm going to jump off this bridge and live, and it didn't work. You know, that's just how I look at it. We're given situations, and then we are also given free will or choice to do however we want to do with it. And then once we get on that high vibrational plane, that's when you can start attracting other things into your life. So, for example, I wound up with a brain tumor. I wound up getting extremely sick. My life kind of got put on hold. Of course, I couldn't do radiology anymore. But so I was like, okay, what can I do? So we wound up taking 2 years to find a surgeon to do the surgery, because nobody wanted to do it, because I only had about a 30% chance of living. And brain surgeons, once they become good, successful brain surgeons, they don't want the odds against them, because then it makes their batting average look bad. So it took a couple of years to find a surgeon to do it. Finally found a surgeon. Guy is great. Reminds me of Carrot Top, if you know who Carrot Top is. Imagine Carrot Top doing brain surgery on him, but that's what this guy was. Really cool.
Actually, it was Carrot Top.
You know, I kind of figured he was. I'm like, you look so familiar. And, you know, he kept bringing out these suitcases full of all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm like, you know, operate on my, you know, he brings out saws. And anyway.
So let me ask you. So what's been awesome in the last 15 months since the brain surgery? I know you and I have become good friends.
Yeah.
Other than you and I becoming good friends, is there anything else awesome?
Yeah, I went blind.
Awesome.
Now, you see, a lot of people are just like, and you and I have had many discussions over this, so you understand when I say I went blind. And people are like, that's a good thing. And people even ask me, it's like, you want your sight back, don't you? And I was like, not necessarily. I like the way that my world is now. It has taken me a year to adjust. I've been blind for 50, going on 15 months now. And, you know, it's taken me quite a while. Thank God there's Washington Department of Services for the Blind that has really, really helped me a lot. And you know, you said something earlier on the intro where you said that I see with my heart and not with my eyes. And that's one thing that I really, really like about being visually impaired is the fact that I do see people with my heart instead of with my eyes, because people are, I look at it now, I look at, you know, people like onions that I remember, I think it was in a sociology class or something where we went to, where there's all these facades and layers and stuff until you got to peel them all away and get to the real person. I get rid of the real person because I do it backwards. I go from the inside out. If you're a nice person, I'm going to know right off the bat, because it does not matter to me what you look like. It doesn't matter to me what brand of clothes you're wearing. You can wear an Armani suit or you could be wearing a pair of sweatpants. I don't care. And because it's not going to impress me if you've got a Rolex watch and an Armani suit and driving a BMW, because those are those, like, I call those people the Armanis now.
See, but and you can't tell who is and who isn't by looking at them, because, well, they all look like a big blob.
Well, yeah, I just see now the way that I see. I should probably explain this really quick. When I lost my vision from my surgery, now they went through the back of my head, and back there is called your visual cortex, is that part of your brain. But they had to cut through all that to get to the tumor, and so what it did is it kind of destroyed my visual cortex. So I see, but I don't know what I'm seeing. As crazy as that sounds, I can see light, I can see movement, I can see shadows, I can even see colors, and I can tell people. Usually I can tell a person from a couch or a chair or something like that, to where I have seen, and I've tried to explain so many times, like, you know, it's like when you get out of the shower and you stand in front of the mirror in a steamy bathroom and you wave your hands, or you can see movement but you couldn't tell what it is, or things like that, or, you know, it's like seeing through wax paper, those type of things. And I remember on TV when people would do inappropriate hand gestures, they would pixelate. That's the thing now, is where they pixelate things out. And so if everything is pixelated, that's kind of like how I see. And then I've had a lot of people say, well, I don't understand. If you can see something, why can't you comprehend what it is? I said, because that part of my brain was destroyed. And people... So about 3 weeks ago, I came up with a really, really good way to explain that to people. And so the way that I do that is like, okay, you can hear me, right?
Right.
Can you hear me?
Sure, of course.
Okay. So if I say, Merhaba, Hamanakodum Dalamanaskim Siktir Pezevic, this kind of, you know, if I say that to you, you heard me, right?
Yes.
But what did I say? I was speaking Turkish. I was speaking Turkish. You didn't understand what I said, correct? But you heard me. So if you heard me, why didn't you understand what I said? That is exactly what it is like. It's like I can see objects, I can see movement, I can see shadows and colors, but I don't know what it is.
I like that metaphor. You can see in a different language, is what you're saying.
There you go. I see in a different language now. I have no idea what language it is, but that's how I see. It's just a bunch of garbledy-goop. You know, it's like, remember those kaleidoscope things where you can, like, if you know, it's like, so if you take one of those and you hold it up to this light or hold it up to that and you turn it. You see the different colors and you see movement and you see clarification. Now, if you change direction and now you're looking at something else through that kaleidoscope and you move it, you're going to see something totally different than what you did here. Still not going to comprehend what it is, but you're going to see different things. So that's kind of like how I see. I can see stuff. I see a different language. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's hilarious that you don't know what it is. Well.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is until my other senses kick in, and so, like, I'm sitting here with a water bottle, and so if this is sitting on the counter, and there's other stuff, I'm not going to be able to distinguish it until I actually go over there and I feel it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a water bottle. I can feel it. Now I can shake it, and I know that it's about half full. So I have to use my other senses in order to distinguish what
By
a
the
lot
way,
of
we'll
things
notice
are.
you intuitively called it half full, not half empty.
Oh, look at that.
Now, that's a very good point there. Very good point, sir.
So I mean, you were a pilot. You were a Thunderbird. You were doing this diagnostic imaging. You're doing all these things. You have this experience. You have this surgery. You go
Yeah.
blind. This last year and change, and you're still very upbeat. If I may ask, how long did it take to go from getting the news about the second tumor, or getting the news about what the surgery was going to do, or all that, to getting back to the upbeat, happy guy that you are now? And did your, I'll call it, belief system about the secret, the universe, and your life in general, how much did that play into that process?
That part right there is the faith that I've had within myself and within my creator and within the existence of my reality.
Sure.
Now, I look at that, and a lot of the questions that you're answering or that you're asking, I can answer with this: that it's a choice. I choose to be happy. I choose to use blindness not as a deterrent in my life. Yes, it has slowed me down, and I've had to readjust and adapt to a few things in my life, but you know what? I get by just fine. I really thought I was going to freak out by not ever being able to drive anymore, but it's so nice to have a driver now that takes you somewhere. And but these are all choices that I made. Now, at first, it was devastating. I mean, I went through quite a bit of emotional stuff. And it's like when it comes to what I call vibrational energy, which is what we attract into whatever. It's like if you look at on your head, you have a broadcast antenna and a receiver antenna. They're connected because they all are the same thing. So if you want to listen to whatever your favorite radio station is, on your
Kiss
dial,
FM with Rick Dees. Why not, right?
102.7 Kiss FM with Rick Dees. So if you want to listen to that, you can't be on 99.5. You have to turn your dial. You have to be locked in. So whatever's broadcasting, if you want to receive, you have to be on the same frequency. So vibrational energy, my opinion, the same way. What we broadcast out is what our receiver antenna is going to bring back in. So if we want good, positive, happy vibrational energy, that's what we broadcast out. This is what's going to come back in. Now, I have to say that there was a lot of stuff that happened in my life at that point, and so what that did is that kind of triggered and started snowballing a whole low vibrational energy part of my life.
Sure.
Now, this is not the first time this has happened. This has happened to me a few times, and to where I will be manifest and I'll have just like the life of my dreams. Then all of a sudden it starts falling apart, and then it falls apart, and I wind up. I've gone from millionaire to living on my couch in my office, back to millionaire, back to living on my couch. After 2 times, I finally figured it out, because it's like, it's not my fault, and we're always taught it's not my fault, it's not my fault, it's that fault, it was the economy, it was this. Like, no, it was my fault, because what I did is when I'm up, I have all my vibrational energy, all my thoughts, all my affirmations, like, this is where my goal is. I know exactly what I want, where I want to go. This is what I'm doing. Then once I get there, we kind of sit back and say, whew, I made it. This is awesome. And then it's just like, apparently something happens, and if you take that as a negative, or you take that as a low vibrational energy, and you start putting and focusing your energy on that, what are you going to create more of? It's like, oh, crap, this happened. Wow, I didn't want that to happen, but it happened. I really hope it doesn't happen again, because I really worked my butt off to get to the... And so then the next thing you know, one thing after another starts falling apart, and then your whole life is in a shambles. And I've talked to so many people over the years that this is what happens to them. And then now my life is devastated. All this is like, and this law of attraction crap is a bunch of stuff, because I worked my butt off to get successful and get up here, Why would I sabotage myself? And so we can't see it in our head, but that is what we are doing, because now all of a sudden we have low vibrational energy. We have certain things that happen in our life. We choose to not take them in a positive way or in a desirable way. We choose to take them in a negative way. We stress out over them. We start freaking out over them. And then now what are we doing? Focus equals fuel. So that's when Murphy's Law kicks in, because then the domino effect happens, one thing after another. So what happened to me on this time was kind of the same thing. I was the head of the diagnostic imaging department at a great hospital out here in Washington. I had started this place before it opened, helped design it, hired all the techs, and trained them, put the place together, ran it for about 2 years, and then things started falling apart. One thing after another started falling apart, and so instead of thinking about what I want, I started thinking about what I don't want. Well, I don't want this to happen again. I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my marriage. I don't want to lose all this stuff, but everything's riding on this, and then now what am I doing? I'm stressing out. I'm freaking out. And what do you think happened to my life? I got sick. I couldn't work. I lost my job. My wife started stressing out on me. I started stressing out on her. That put a stress on the relationship. Next thing you know it, how am I supposed to be making? I'm living on the 11th fairway at Canterwood Country Club, driving Mercedes and Jaguars, and well into the six-figure income, enjoying life. Now all of a sudden, I'm sick. I'm broke. What's going to happen? Oh my God, I hope they don't foreclose on my house. What happens? They foreclose on my house. So anyway, I had everything yanked, or just the proverbial carpet yanked out from underneath me.
Sure.
Wife and I, went our separate ways, and I got sick and sicker. I lost probably about $300,000 in a business that I had invested in and started. It went south, and all this happened at the same time. And then my father passed away about that time also. So I went and I'm living with my mother, because I don't have a house. My wife and son, they have an apartment and everything, and just my life just turned into that shambles. And so at that point, it's just like, okay, why is this happening to me? And so if we take that attitude and we take that, why is this happening to me? This sucks. My life is horrible. What are we doing? We're attracting more of that into our life. So you have to stop that. If your life is going in that direction, it is you, and you alone are the only person that can change that. And you change that by changing the way that you think. And start looking.
Our way of changing the way you think.
That to me, that's not the only way, but that is the go part. That is ground zero. You need to start saying what's going on in your brain. You can't say I'm broke all the time and expect money. It's like Einstein has his famous saying of his definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, but expecting different results.
Sure. So there's your story is profound. Your book is great, and there's so many things to talk about here. Kind of like you said earlier, Rhonda Byrne couldn't do it in 90 minutes. You can't do it in 60 minutes.
Right.
But there is a link up above here to Rob's website, loaaffirmations.com. The cool thing is, his book is available as an audiobook. I bought it. It's on my phone. It was a whopping $4.99 on Amazon. The link to the website has all of his affirmation MP3s and a couple of we're partners on a website project, so it's got a couple of mine as well. And by the way, if you've noticed an increase in my audio quality in some of my recent recordings, that is thanks to Rob Banks, and that is his real name. By the way, his father was a cop, and that proves the law of attraction. But Rob is going to guide us through some affirmations tonight. And you use affirmations in your hypnosis with your clients. Mm-hmm. And that's fantastic. I've always been a big fan of that. But I would encourage people to click the link up above and get a free MP3 from Rob at the loaaffirmations.com webpage. Yeah. But Rob, can you take about 5 minutes and guide us through a process? Scott and I we turn off our mic and our cameras, but we're still here.
Okay.
And just guide us through a hypnotic or affirmation process that would be beneficial to us.
Before we do that, there's just a couple of quick things that I wanted to touch on, because I know I get a little sporadic, and I'll go here and then go there, but I just had some thoughts that I wanted to give to your listeners out there, that if you are ready for a change, it is something that you have to make the decision. Nobody can make the decision for you, but you have to stay and choose to go on a high vibrational plane. Now, one thing that our society is, I mean, our whole existence is based on commercialization, so to speak, and so we are programmed from day one that we are insufficient and we lack something until we purchase somebody's product. So it's like, are you happy about this? You won't be happy until you buy this, or you won't be happy until you buy this. And this is what we're programmed. So we keep running out and buying things. That's why we want money, because we have to buy this because I can't live without it. And this is what commercialization and advertising does. And that's what economy is, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when we get obsessed with that and our world revolves around that, that's a choice that we're making. So I think one needs to learn first and foremost that you are worthy just of who you are. I mean, when a baby's born, you love a baby, right? For whatever reason other than just the baby is a baby. Well, you were that baby one time, and you still are. You're just in a bigger package now. But you don't need to have this. You don't need to buy that. You don't need to be this or anything like that, which is everything that we identify ourselves with. You just be you. You're just an awesome creation and a part of this universe. So I would say the first thing that one needs to do is know that you are worthy and decide to make the choice to make your life better. Again, doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, probably not going to happen for you. So if you're not happy with where your life is, then this is something that I think you should take a look at. And like I said, we start that with affirmations. So I have a list of affirmations here. It's it's part of the book. In the back of the book, I put 100 of my best affirmations and most effective affirmations there. Now, on the site that Richard was talking about, there's several affirmation programs for different situations that are going on in your life, and they're like $10 downloads and stuff like that. I have some. Richard has some up there, and they become very, very, very effective. And there's just like countless, actually hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of great. What do they call them, reviews and stuff like that people just can't thank us enough for bringing this to light to their world and their existence, and now they're loving their life because they made that change. But that change starts between your two ears, and in my opinion, it starts with your I am affirmations. And you have to stay positive, you have to stay up, and your affirmations have to be desirable. Now, I don't use positive, negative, good, bad, or anything like that. I use either desirable or undesirable because everything is what we choose to make it. If it's like situations are just situations, and we can choose whether it's a pleasurable or a displeasurable, a good, a bad, or anything like that. But it's what we classify it as. Actually, I think Shakespeare had a thing I wrote or I read about where he kind of had that same philosophy. So very seldom do I say good, bad, positive, negative. I always say just either desirable or undesirable, because if I'm at point A and my desired result is to get to point B and I wind up at point C, that is an undesirable result. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a negative result or a bad result, because you know what? There might be a bunny rabbit or a chocolate candy bar or whatever at point C. But I won't know until I get there. I'm arrived here at point C. Let's see what is good about this. And I choose to make it desirable. Even though it wasn't my desired result, that's where I wound up. So if we start with affirmations, I am affirmations, and we start with the desired result of what we want, take where you are now, and then go forward. So many people live in the past, and looking back, turn around, what do you want? That's one of the first things I ask my clients. It's like, well, what is it that you want in life? A lot of people don't, well, I don't know. Once you decide and you figure out what it is that you want in your life, as far as relationships, as far as lifestyle, as far as career, all these kind of things, these are choices that you can make and you can do. Starts with affirmations. So in the book, I have 100 affirmations in the book, and we can start with those. So
all right, great. And we probably have about 6 minutes to do this.
Okay.
We run out of time. So about 5 or 6 minutes, and let's go through some of these.
Okay. Now, I would, and these are like what's on the programs. Now, in the programs that we get, that you can download, there's soothing music behind there. We have isochronic and binaural beats and different frequencies to help get your brain into those into that frequency and thought process. And then we have subliminal. So when you buy one of the programs, you get like 6 or 7 different versions of the affirmations with different backgrounds and stuff like that to kind of help you concentrate and where you're going. So let's take this last 5 minutes or so, and I'm going to read you some affirmations. And I don't start my Braille class until January, so I have my, you see it, my trusty magnifier glass here, and I can get like way close like that, and I can read my book. I probably look kind of silly, but that's okay. It's effective. So if you want to just take this time right now and just kind of like relax or whatever, and just kind of focus your mind on where it is that you want to go. What is your goal? What is it that you want to achieve? And then start thinking about how do you get there. And like I said, it starts with affirmations. So let's get going with some I am affirmations. So I'm going to say them, and then you can just repeat them after me. I'll just say them once because I know we're getting close on time. So the first one, here we go. I am happy, healthy, and wealthy. I am worthy of a great and wonderful life. I am thankful for all of my blessings. I am beautiful inside and out. I am confident and self-assured at all times. I am compassionate and understanding. I am forgiven and forgiving. I am living a peaceful and joyful life. I am blessed with good things happening to me every day. I am attracting people into my life who reflect my highest good. I am safe, protected, and loved. I am divinely blessed every day in all that I do. I am divinely guided every day in all that I do. I am free to be me. I am completely in acceptance of who I am. I am joyful, enthusiastic, and motivated. I am happy and allowing myself to have fun. I am happy with myself and with my life. I am a good person who deserves to be happy. I am a co-creator of my reality. I am naturally outgoing and friendly. I am always sharing my smile. I am always calm in all situations. I am at peace with my past. I am in control of my thoughts and emotions. I'm going to say that one again. I am in control of my thoughts and my emotions. I'm going to stop right there, and the reason why I want to do that is because that affirmation right there that is one of the key go-to affirmations that I use all the time. That's like the one that I always have. And I always use because it's a way to remind ourselves when situations happen, like what I was saying a little bit earlier. I cannot control Richard. I can't control Scott. I can't control the car coming down the street, which for blind people, that's a big stress, is I got to get across the street here. So I need to realize that I am in control of myself, and I am in control of my thoughts and my emotions. Now, emotions are good. A lot of people hide their emotions. They swallow their emotions. I always look at emotions in my mind. I look at them like little kids that are down there yanking mama's apron, the end of her, it's like, I mean, you've all seen kids, and if you have kids and they've happened to you, it's like, it starts off, mommy, mom, mom, mommy, mommy, mom, and then the kid gets more and more, it's yanking more and more, it's like, mom, and then finally mom is like, what? And then the kid doesn't even remember what he wanted. He just wants the attention. Well, our emotions are like that. You remember, our emotions are there for a reason. They tell us something. And so emotions are good. If we take these emotions, we understand them, when we accept them, and then we nurture them and thank them for being there. Thank them for telling you something. But where the key is that where I say emotions are good, it's out of control emotions that are not good. Out of control emotions in my world are undesirable, because you don't know what's happening when something is out of emotion. So if you keep telling yourself that you're in control of your thoughts, you're in control of your emotions, then that gives you the upper hand. That gives you the opportunity to take whatever that situation is and say, okay, where do I want to go with this? What do I want the end result to be? And then I start affirming that. But I'm in control. You are in control of your thoughts. You're in control of your emotions. Don't give them away. Don't let other people decide what you're going to think about. Don't let other people decide how you're going to feel. You're in charge of that, and you make those choices. So, you want me to go on with more there, sir?
Your enthusiasm, your affirmations, the ideas you've communicated are real powerful. Unfortunately, we are officially out of time. But the good thing is, this is the internet, and you'll be back. Your website right at the very top of this video box is loaaffirmations.com. By the way, a Facebook group with over 500,000 people, so join the LOA Affirmations Facebook group. Thank you very much for being our guest tonight. Scott, anything you want to add?
Just real briefly, first, to thank you to Rob for sharing your story. We really appreciate it. And to the attendees, viewers, and listeners who are tuning in, remember to keep bringing up topics to us. Contact us, request topics, request individuals, send us the emails. We've got a couple other people lined up already from your requests, but it does take us a little bit of time to get to the person.
There we got Bob Burns coming up.
I was going to say, I know we've got Bob coming up in the next couple weeks, which I'm excited about, before Christmas. And there's a few others that we've been talking to. But even though you know we've got Bob coming up, please still let us know who you want to hear so we can get in touch with them and get the scheduling going.
Well, isn't it true that once we have Bob, I mean, where do you go from there?
Well, once you have Bob, I mean...
we had Rob Banks, that's a Bob, and now we're going to get Bob Burns. I mean, two Bobs.
We can get.
I just talked to Bob Proctor last week. I can see if he's available too.
Yeah, we'll get Bob Proctor, then Bob Otto from the IMDHA. We'll just do. You know what? Forget it. Sunday Live. We're only interviewing Robs and Bobs for the next 3 months.
Well, next week, Bob Burns. After Christmas, we come back and we'll have Bob Otto followed by Bob Proctor. Is that the lineup?
That's what I'm saying, and that'll give us time to come up with a few more Bobs.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Rob Banks. And,
my pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much, everyone, for participating.
Good night, everybody.